Hello, everybody. So many friends already in the chat here this morning. Sorry if my voice is a little bit off. I'll have to update you guys on that. But I am so happy to be back with all of you. Anybody that is new here, I just got back from a trip to Guatemala. So I'm sure we'll get to chatting about that today. I probably should say hola. Hola, hola. But it is so good to be back with all of you. And I also have a fun craft to share with all of you. Very easy, very low key. So we could get to hanging out. And I want to know what all of you have been up to too this past week. So let me see. This is interesting. I'm still getting used to Restream. Let me go in here. That's weird. Like I can't see everybody. Because I know Diane was in here, but I don't see her in the chat here. So, but again, I'm still getting used to Restream a little bit. But I know I saw Leanne popped in and Kathy popped in. Yeah, how come I can't see Diane? I want to click on Diane. Let me X out and go back into the chat. I'm sure it's user error on me, but I wanted to say hello to Diane too, because I know she is here. And okay, let me really quick go over some things I want to check off my list really quick. And I'll give you a little bit of overview on the craft and kind of get into that a little bit. And then we'll start chatting. The first thing that I want to mention is that you all need to save the date because our next Crafty Marathon is coming up on September 20th. Those of us that will be participating, again, this time, you'll see lots of posts from us, save the date. There's Diane. It was so weird I couldn't see you. There's Diane. Because I wonder maybe when I made the post that I did, because I know that I did that after I saw you, Diane. And Susie is here. Yeah, I see you. I see you on the on my laptop here now, and I see you on my phone. I'm so glad you guys are all here. And how was everybody? I feel like I haven't seen you. Has it been 2 Thursdays? So also share in the chat if anybody has anything fun to share, anything exciting that happened the last couple weeks, or anything you guys want to share. Make sure you put that in the chat as well. Is it too early? Well, it's 10 a.m. my time, right? Because I did move it up. Yeah, we've been playing around. I used to do 2 p.m. Eastern, and so we've been playing around with this 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 a.m. Eastern. Oh, you didn't see me at first either? Yeah, I don't know if it has something to do with the restream. I'm so glad you all are here. But as I said, our next Crafty Marathon is coming up September 20th. I'm glad Angela came in. Angela is going to be my beautiful co-host this time around. It will be on my channel. So I'm hosting, Angela is co-hosting, and then we're doing this sort of rotation. So next marathon will be on Angela's channel, and I believe Leanne is co-hosting with Angela. So we are spreading the love around, and that will be again September 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Angela can probably correct me with the lineup because I've been away. I haven't been as focused on it, but it's myself and Angela, Katie of Vintage and Vinyl, and Leanne, Crafty Kitty Vintage, Kathy Picasso Cat. I'm sure I'm not saying this in the correct order. We have Christy with Tippy Winks Vintage, Pamela Blanchard of Pamela Blanchard or Oak Grove Mercantile, Amy of Amy's Amazing Art, and Margot of Vintage Peep Show A Go Go. I think. Did I miss anybody? Angela will let me know. somebody is having a birthday. Whose grandson is having a birthday? Happy birthday. Da, 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 da. That's exciting. 16. That's an exciting birthday. 16. So does that mean driver's license time? Or is that 16 or 16 and a half? I can't remember. 16 is a great age. Awesome age. Okay. All right. So I'm all caught up with that. Let me pull the prompt really quick. Oh my gosh, that was one of the best things, coming back to and getting caught up with our kind of our little group on Instagram, where everybody was posting all the things they were making and doing and coloring and designing, and oh my gosh, so much creativity. People were working on the prompts, which I'm way behind in. I think I'm now either 3 or 4 behind. So I'm gonna have to get caught up this week. But let's see what this week's is. I almost don't even want to look. Playing card, which we all constantly use when we're making our ATCs. So that's a fun one, playing card. So I will post a picture in our group later. That's not going to be too much of a stretch to do something with, but maybe next year when we do the prompt jar again, we'll have to come up with some like fresh things to put in. And actually, if anybody at any time thinks of something fun or new that they want to put in the jar, I can just handwrite it in and stick it in as well. Okay, he passed. Sometimes the written part, it took me twice to get through the written part. So sometimes the written part can be a little challenging. Yeah. And then you start driving. Are you, is he doing private lessons, Diane? I didn't do that back in the day. I don't know if that was a thing back in the day for all of us, but we did that for both of our kids, and that was super helpful to have the private driving lessons. Let's see. Angela said she's been working a lot. She didn't expect to be working so much coming up to the sale, so it should be interesting. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that either, being gone and traveling. So I'm probably also going to pull, you know, some old stock stuff you guys haven't seen. I had kind of squirreled away of things I made for Christmas and whatnot. So I'll definitely be pulling. I'm going to make it easy on myself this time. And you haven't done the prompts either. Yeah. You and me both, Angela. Well, eventually we'll catch up. Maybe after the sale, we'll catch up. Yesterday was my first day being back. When did we get back? Was it Friday? I guess we got back late Friday. I've been sick. I got a little bit of a bug, stomach bug, and some allergy stuff going on. So I haven't been at my peak. Jim got sick. There was quite a bit. The trip was so amazing, but yeah, there was some kind of little funny things that went on too, physical wise. Oh, that's right. Okay, I said Leanne. So that's right. So see, I'm very out of it. Christy is co-hosting next time. So it'll be on Angela's channel with Christy co-hosting, and then moving to Christy's channel, and then Leanne is co-hosting with Christy. Yeah. And then we'll just keep the fun going. So that's right. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera around because I think it's much easier to kind of show you what we're doing today. And we'll do a little bit overview, and then we will chit chat as we go. I'm sorry. I feel very out of my element here. Okay, let me change the camera. I'm very nasally today too. So excuse that. Let me put my phone over here. Okay. All right. And I am so very glad for this project today. I had an Instagram friend say that she would love to see a demo of my tags. And so that was a really easy thing to kind of glom onto today and do. So I was very happy with today's project. Angela's at Dollar Tree. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're good. Okay. So today I am doing a little demo of my handmade gift tags. So I've sort of been working on the technique and the formula of these over the years. I've been hand making these tags and including them as package toppers on my outgoing Etsy orders. But I also have a ton at the ready. I will add them onto Happy Mail packages, gifts for family and friends. They're so cute. They're, in addition to being, you know, a little tag, I love to tie them onto just a little brown paper craft bag. If you have a brown paper craft bag and some cute tissue paper and you tie one of these onto the handle, it's just the cutest thing. I change them up seasonally or just depending on the time of the year. They're so simple and so easy, and I've kind of refined the process over the last couple of years. Currently, I'm using just this very inexpensive jute twine as the topper because I have a ton of it and I'm working through it. Once I go through all of this, I'll probably move on to something else that I have a lot of, but the topper can really be anything. And because I'm using these for toppers also in my Etsy shop, I'm making them very inexpensively. I use scraps that I have on hand, bits and pieces of cardstock. I just kind of use what's at my disposal. And the other items that we're including are dictionary pages and paper napkins. And those of us that craft with paper napkins, you can get so much out of a single napkin. It's crazy. I would say, I don't even know if these would cost a penny a piece. They're probably less than that. So they're a great mass make project. I just make a bunch all at one time when I'm running low. And yeah, they're just great to have on hand. I also wanted to challenge myself before I left on vacation because I'm like, okay, I always make these, you know, in this kind of little small size that I can use as gift tags. So I'm like, wow, wonder if I could take the same sort of technique and same formula and maybe make a bigger tag. So I basically took the same kind of collage formula and I use napkins and little pieces of vintage paper. You can kind of see the layers there. And I think these were both from the same napkin, maybe a different napkin. We'll have to look through the napkins. And I just made a really large tag that could be used as decor. It could be used as a journaling card to slip into a journal, you name it. But so yeah, you can take this idea and just run with it. Okay, so there's the big one. Let me clear the space a little bit. I feel like I'm running low on space. And then I'll show you, I was also working on a few other tags here. I kind of had them in process this morning, but I'll show you some that I have here in my bin. And I was posting pictures before we left on our trip to Guatemala, and I was making them in bundles. I was very low on Halloween and Christmas, so I got all caught up with that. And I just keep them in this vintage planter here, kind of rectangular shape. So I just keep it in my closet where I keep all my packing supplies, and it's super easy just to grab them. So here are some of the Halloween ones I made before I left. Of course, we were just looking at that. Here's some that are fall. Here's some cute Christmas that I made. And in addition to paper napkins, I also like to look for decorative tissue paper. So the Christmas images here are from tissue paper. So that's another thing that you can use in lieu of, here's a few more Christmas ones. Here's a few more examples of the fall. And I just think they make a really great look. Let me see what I have in here. Here's some ones that I made last year, I think come Easter time. So they have the same general look and feel, but they just get changed up depending on the napkins that you're using. Here's a bunch that are kind of Valentine themed. What do I have in here? And I used to make them much more intricate and layered when I first started making them, and then I simplified them just because of a time crunch. But here is a butterfly one I think I made when I first started making them, and you can see I was putting, you know, the hole protectors on there and just maybe layering them and putting some, you know, extra details, which I don't do anymore. I just keep them very simple. Here's a mushroom. I don't know that one's that great, but here's a mushroom one that's stuck in here. Ooh, these were pretty. I liked these. I should make some of these again. Here's some florals that are in here. Oh, these are the Halloween ones that I had last year, last holiday or Halloween season. So those are fun. I think that's about it because I go through and use them a lot. Okay, let's stick that over there. Okay, and get these out of the way. So what I use is very simple, very easy. In fact, you can tell this is a scrap piece. I don't know, something my daughter was using. I picked it up. It was laying around, but I always keep a pack of cardstock, like scraps and things that are offcuts from different things. So I'll usually dig through here. Maybe I wouldn't use something that's this small, but who knows? It just depends on what mood I'm in. I like to use, you know, file folders would work great if you have offcuts. This is kind of like a thinner cardstock here. I love using the craft paper cardstock if I have some larger. Obviously that's too small, but if I have some larger pieces, which I don't think I have any currently. When I'm making the tags very small, because I'm trying to do it in mass and I'm trying to do it economically, I'm not using very thick cardstock. I'm happy with the thin stuff. Okay. And then what I like to use, basically what I end up doing is I'm making a masterboard background. So here you can see it's kind of a thinner piece, like a thick piece of paper, kind of thin cardstock that I used. And I have found that my favorite thing is the black and white dictionary pages. Sometimes I've used the brown, kind of the browner tone, like thesauruses and the creamy tones, but I find I like the black and white. It allows the tissue paper or the paper napkin images to really pop. It has a nice neutral background, and it doesn't really detract from the images. For some reason, this black and white seems to work really well, so that's always my go-to. Also, it's nice and thin, and of course, I always have tons of dictionary pages. I use them for glue pages and all that kind of stuff. And basically what I do, here, let's cut this a little bit smaller. I don't think I need a piece this big. Let's get ourselves a little bit smaller of a piece. And basically what I do is I just take the dictionary page, and I like to get rid of the white border. For some reason, I just don't like a lot of white border when I'm collaging. So I just take one of the pages and I just start ripping it down and getting rid of a lot of that white border. This one I stamped on the bottom, so I pulled off like a bigger piece there. We'll get rid of that. And I'll leave them big like that. Sometimes I'll come in and just rip it that way, just so I get a little bit of interest and a little bit of a ripped edge. But that's sort of my basic thing that I do, and it is so quick and easy. I use glue stick. I will say though that sometimes the glue stick has a tendency to lift a little bit, but because I'm trying to mass make these, I'm making them quickly. I'm making it kind of a, gift to a buyer. I think it's fine to use the glue stick, but I do get a little bit of lifting. So as I'm making them, I sometimes have to come back and glue the edges down a little bit. So you will have some of that. If you were making this, where'd the bigger tag go? Like that bigger Halloween tag that I just showed you, I have no idea. Oh, here we go. If you were making this bigger tag and maybe you wanted it to, you wanted to have better adherence, I would actually even try using Mod Podge. I think Mod Podge would be great to stick the dictionary page down to the cardstock, as well as anything that you're putting on the back, ledger paper, graph paper, anything like that for writing. You could also use Mod Podge, I think would be great, or watered down white glue, something like that. So, but I did want to say, oftentimes I will get quite a bit of lift on the dictionary page. Okay, and it can't be any easier. Just put a bunch of glue down here, and then I just stick. And I'm not really, I don't care if, kind of same thing when I'm doing a masterboard. It doesn't matter what direction things are going in. I do sort of try to look to make sure that, let me get some on here too. I don't have any kind of weird words in the mix, but I think when you sort of mix it up and change the direction of the text, it, kind of gets lost. Hopefully there's nothing kind of stuck in there that's maybe not the best word. I think people would really have to look because there's quite a bit going on. Okay, we'll cover up that last little bit. So as you can see, it's just super, super quick and easy. It's just like doing a masterboard. I'll just do one more. There we go. Oh, thank you, Susie. Yeah, they're fun. I don't know. I just think they brighten up the packages. I know I've had a lot of buyers when they leave, responses back or reviews that I think they enjoy. And the other thing is I don't write on them. So I attach them to the packages, but I don't write like their name or anything. I just keep them blank because my thought is, well, they can use it on a gift that they give to somebody else, or maybe that vintage thing that they're buying, maybe it is a gift for somebody else. So I leave them blank thinking, well, they can reuse them. And another way that I like to use them that is so cute is they look so cute tied and put onto a vintage bottle. I meant to like grab a bottle, but they would be great tied onto a vintage bottle, like in a little vignette. They would look, especially these fall ones or the Halloween ones, they would look so cute tied to the top of a pumpkin, like a little Dollar Tree pumpkin or something like that. You just tie it around the stem, and I don't know, I think they're just so quick and easy, but yet they really elevate, I think, a package or a gift. And all my friends and family know whenever they get a gift from me, there's usually one of these tags attached to it because I just think they're really cute. And the other thing that I do on my Etsy packages is once I bubble wrap, so everything's all, packet tissue paper, bubbled wrap, and then I just use what do we call this? What is this stuff called? Tulle. I just usually use tulle, and I have tons of colors. I'm always looking for it at the thrift stores and whatnot. So it gets a big bow of tulle. I tie my little tag on, and then slip my business card, my thank you card, and a little handwritten card. And you can see it's just cute, easy, and I think an economical way to package. If you happen to be a seller or have an online shop on Etsy or eBay or anything like that, or your own website. And so that's it. So we're just basically creating a little masterboard. Oh, I missed Carrie. Hi, Carrie. How are you? Hello. Yeah, there. Everybody, right, Angela? Yeah. And the same thing. I don't ever write on them, because then you guys can, once you get them, they're like a little gift, and you can do what you want with them, or regift them to somebody. Put them on a package that you're giving to a loved one. So I kind of like that little thought. Okay, so here is kind of a half done masterboard. I'm going to stick that over there. And our little slips of paper, we don't need those. And then this is what I would end up with, a masterboard that's fully covered with that dictionary page. And so the next thing I do is I just take my paper cutter, and I don't even measure. I just do a visual. Let me see. This might not be. Let's square that off. I don't think that side's very squared off. There, cut that too. Square our edge off. And then I'm just cutting them. I'm just getting a visual on what I think is a good size tag. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of strips. Sometimes I make them bigger, sometimes I make them wider, sometimes shorter. It just depends. Also, I sometimes like to have different size tags. Sometimes I'll have a little tiny package, and it's nice just to have a smaller one. Like these, we can make a little bit thicker with what we have left here. And then I'll just take these, and again, I'm just going to cut them down to size. So it's pretty quick, pretty easy. We'll get a few more going. Make some little square ones here. So what else fun has been going on? We know Diane's grandson turned 16. Very exciting. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed them, Carrie. Oh my gosh. What an amazing trip. Now, Carrie, remind me again, because I remember before I left, you were in the chat. Did you say that you have family from Guatemala? Remind me again. Because I can't remember what the connection was. And if so, where do they live? I would love to know that. I would love to know that. Oh my gosh. Such great love in the chat. Don't you guys think all the time? I always think, aren't we lucky? We are so lucky to have each other. We're so lucky to have this community. Just very, very, very blessed. Okay, so now what I do, I just take them, and we're just going to do like a mass make thing here, and I'm just going to line up a bunch. Let's get these out of the way. And then I think because I made such a big, I know I had the fall and the Halloween in the link, but I think because I have so many, I think I'm pretty set for fall, Halloween, and Christmas. I grabbed out this butterfly napkin here. So maybe let's work on that. I need some kind of you know, I need some kind of neutral, like floral. I try to, like, if somebody buys a Christmas item, it gets a Christmas stamp. You know, Halloween thing, it gets a Halloween. I mean, tag. That is. But I also like to. I don't have any neutrals in my bin, so let's see. And this is my really scary envelope here of tissue paper. So you could see I have, here's that Christmas tissue paper. Let's see what else we have in here that would be kind of a good neutral instead of really holiday specific. You would think I'd have some floral in here because I'm busting at the seams. Let's see what we can find. Ooh, this is pretty. I think that was a napkin. I think I got that from my stepmom. Maybe let's use that. I haven't used that one before. Yeah, let's use that one. That one's very pretty. It's kind of fall. I think it has a pretty look. Let's see how this will work out. Okay, we're going to do the little trick. I'm going to take off a couple, all the layers. So that one came off easy. Let me see if there's a second layer. Let me grab some. Oh, okay, that's what okay, so your mom was from Guatemala. Okay. Oh my gosh, how wonderful. And her family had a home in Santa Rosa and in Guatemala City. Oh my gosh. That's wonderful. My so we went with our family friends. My our good friend Rosina and her husband and her two boys, and she has a lot of cousins and family that are still in Guatemala. In fact, two of her cousins actually traveled with us a great portion of our trip. So it was so wonderful. It was wonderful getting to know them. Her cousin's son, he did all the driving, which was amazing because I don't know. I don't know how we would have made it without him driving and keeping us safe. Because we flew into Guatemala City. So Carrie, if you've been there recently, you know it is a hustle bustle town. Really puts Los Angeles to shame. I kept saying, oh my gosh, we think Los Angeles traffic and driving on the freeways is crazy. It's nothing compared to Guatemala City. It was so exciting. So Carrie's saying she was born in New Orleans. Oh no. So sorry you lost your dad so early. 18 months old. Oh no, let me see if I can read it better up here. Oh my gosh, okay. So you lived in Guatemala for a while. Oh, that's wonderful that you were able to go back and do that. Yeah, my friend Rosina, her mom travels back and forth quite a bit to be with their family, and yeah, it is thriving and exciting and gorgeous. What a beautiful city. So green, so lush, so beautiful. Lots of motorcycles. That was the interesting thing, right? Motorcycles is a big way to get around. Obviously, it's more economical, better on the gas, and you can whip through the traffic easier, that's for sure. But yes, very thankful that we had Rosina's cousins vacationing with us and traveling with us, and you know, taking us to places that they knew about. And so we were very lucky to have that. Okay, I'm just kind of looking here. So you could do two methods. You can cut your napkins, you can rip them. I've been known to do both. It just kind of depends on the image. This big pumpkin one, oh no, I guess I did rip it. The pumpkin here, I ripped it, and then I wanted to make sure I didn't rip just because the bats, you know, had kind of finer detail, and I didn't want to, you know, rip any of these. What is that? You know, I didn't want to rip down here and take off any of those pointed pieces. So I actually did cut. I did a little fussy cut. But I find it, if you're doing this mass make, it's much quicker and easier to do the ripping method. And I'm just going through here and finding parts that kind of appeal to me. Maybe we'll do one here that's that rose. Let's see here. I kind of like the red and the blue. I love that. The bad words and the food names. Yeah, and it was interesting too because, you know, Rosina is fluent in Spanish, but she was even saying that even though she's fluent, it was really beneficial to have both her cousins with us because she's like, it's just different, you know. It was just nice to have them there to communicate and, you know, talk to local people, and it made the communication a little bit easier. So that's just interesting. And of course, my husband knows little bit of Spanish just from work, and I know very little. You know, please and thank you and that kind of thing. Mine is very rudimentary. Sometimes I pick up on, I guess, living in Southern California my whole life, you know, I'll hear words and I kind of get a little bit of a gist, but no, I wouldn't be able to fully communicate. Hello, Leanne. Let's see here. Oh, I think I missed something special up here. Let's see here. Oh, I think I missed something very special up here. How do I go back up to the top? There we go. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so special. Okay, so let's got a couple things going here. All right, so there's that one. And you know what? I'm going to do a few of these butterflies too. I'm into the butterfly kind of mode here. So let's get a few of these butterflies. I think those are a nice neutral. Let's get a couple of these smaller ones. I love these napkins. And as you could see, like, it takes forever to use all the images. Okay, then let's get those out of the way. Okay, oh, this has a little baby on it. I like the little teeny tiny. We'll put that one with that one. Okay, I'm gonna grab my glue stick and we're just gonna start gluing them down. Got one. Two. I like that yellow. And sometimes when I'm doing these, I'm like, oh, they hit that point where you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if that's gonna look cute, and they always turn out cute. I don't know. In the end, they always look cute. And I like to take the images and kind of hang them off. So I'm not really centering them. I'm just kind of doing maybe an abstract placement. I don't know if that's a proper word, but I think this one's too big. Let's take a little extra off this one. Okay, there's one more. Let's maybe do the same on this one. Just maybe leave the flower. Maybe one leaf. There we go. Oh my gosh, Susie. I know that's a new word to me. That is a new word to me. Although I have to say, I guess the Guatemala beer, Carrie can correct me if she knows, but I think it's a gallo. So Gallo. It was so delicious. we were enjoying the gallo. And I was probably drinking, and I'm not a drinker. I don't drink at home. I don't really, if I go out to dinner or something or with friends, I'll have something to drink, but I'm not, I don't drink every day or typically drink, but boy, when it's hot and it's humid, a beer is just so very nice. Oh, let's take this little baby here. In fact, Jim was funny. That was like the one thing he wanted to bring back. He wanted a Gallo t-shirt because we enjoyed it so much. Okay. All right, so there's that. That one has the little baby. I stuck the little baby there. Let's see. Am I missing any? No, I think I'm pretty good. Okay. So there we have it. We've glued our napkins down. And I think we're pretty adhered. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to quickly turn them over, and I'm going to cut away any excess here. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I don't even know. Maybe equivalent. Taylor, have you ever heard of Gallo beer? I'm going to look for it here now that we're home. Probably equivalent to like Pacifico. I would say it's kind of a Pacifico, a light beer, easy to drink, delicious. I would highly recommend. I don't know if they carry in the grocery stores here, but I bet they do. I bet we'd be able to find it. Maybe like a Heineken. Yeah, Heineken, Pacifico, that kind of a thing. Delicious. The other thing we discovered is the one interesting thing the things I was surprised at, a lot of fast food places here from the States that I was surprised to see you know, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, all that kind of thing. And the kind of other fun thing was they have a chain, a chicken restaurant chain that's a fast food that's called Pollo Campero. And supposedly they have a few locations here in Southern California. So we'll probably go try to check that out. But, you know, everybody's on the fast food chicken craze. But I have to say it was very delicious. I don't do a lot of fast food in general, but it was good. It was very, very good. Okay, so I think we've cut everything. I think this one needs a little bit more. I'm going to put something, I think a little bit more napkin there. Let me get maybe one more little piece, maybe something up this way, just so we get a little bit more color. Maybe this. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's see. Oh, that's right, Diane. Isn't your granddaughter is going off to college too, right? That's right. Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh my gosh, she is going to have the time of her life. Oh, oh, you guys are going to miss her greatly, but what an exciting time of her life. It's a very long drive. How is she feeling? Is she super excited? Yeah, you have to be bursting with pride. And she's excited. See, that's yeah. Yeah, how is your daughter doing? Is she having a hard time? Oh, I think I was going to put it on the other one, but I'm going to stick it on this one because I already put the glue on there. There we go. Let's get something of this. When a couple days after we got back, Ryan, so Taylor stayed home. She wasn't on the trip with us to Guatemala. She had a summer class she was finishing up. So it was just Jim and Ryan and myself and our friends and their family. But Ryan left on a hiking trip a couple days after we got home with, I think, 6 other friends and hiking out of Wi-Fi range. So they're up in the Sierras on a 3-night, right, Taylor? 4 days, 3-night hike. And I think all of us parents have been fine, but I noticed like yesterday, some of the parents started posting in our group chat, like, has anybody heard from the boys and how are they doing? I mean, we knew they were going to be out of Wi-Fi range and we would not be able to, contact them once they left the campground and they headed out on the hike. Of course, they were sleeping in tents and they're going to be sleeping on the ground and all that kind of good stuff. But the nice thing is they do check in with the ranger station before they head out on their trip. So you have to tell them, where you're going, where your end destination is, what day you're expected back. So we have all that kind of as a backup and good information. But I said to Jim when he got home yesterday, he's like, well, have you heard? And I said, well, we won't hear because they're out of range. But, and I'm the same way, but I noticed that, some of the parents had started posting yesterday because everybody's a little anxious knowing that we can't, we can't just pick up our phones and get a text back from them. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more to this one. Okay, I think that's good. Oh yeah, mother or yeah, daddies and daughters. Yeah, sometimes that's harder. Sometimes that's harder. Okay, here. Okay, so we have that basic done. Now, usually what I do is I'll take my corner rounder. Oh, you know what? Let's go around and let's get any little thing that's kind of hanging off here. I think we're pretty good here. Let's cut that because I stuck that one on there. Get a little bit extra here. Sweetheart, will you turn the air on? I think I have it on, but maybe we need to lower it. It is toasty here. It's very toasty here. Okay, so we're going to take the corner rounder. Maybe I'll do the medium size. So quickie, we're going to round all our corners. And then this is when we start to like kind of add all our layers, kind of do our whole mixed media thing. And it goes very quickly. Kind of transforms them, I think. Kind of elevates them a little bit. And these I was playing around with earlier, so I'm going to do these as well. All right, now I'll get a couple of these made. And then I've been posting pictures over on Instagram too. I know a lot of you guys have seen that, but I'll share some pictures too. We'll talk about the trip, but I just wanted to get, in case anybody's watching and they're just here for the tags. I just wanted to get that kind of how-to out of the way, but I will definitely share some pictures and talk about all the great things we did. What an amazing trip we had. Okay, next thing, I'm going to quickly just do all my hole punches. Let's see, I think that one is good there. And punching the holes right now, it kind of helps me with placement of rubber stamping. So the next layer we're going to do is rubber stamping. So it just kind of helps me know what direction. Okay, here we go. Get our florals. Get our butterflies. I like these. I think these are really pretty. Okay, so let me take an example. Some of these examples. So it might be very subtle, but this little snowflake here is a rubber stamp. So I'll come in and I'll pick a rubber stamp that kind of goes with the theme, and then I'll just quickly stamp. This case, I think I did the snowflake in blue. This was a little splatter stamped that I've had for a while, and I discovered that. I think this was when, I think I made these when I was on one of Leanne's Mondays before I left. What is it called, Leanne? Crafting Kitties Monday that she does at 12 noon Pacific every Monday, and that was kind of a fun surprise. And on the little fall ones, I just did a stamp of texting. So it's very, very subtle. It just kind of adds just kind of a subtle background. I'm still letting the images of, what did I even do on that? I'm still letting the, what do I want to say, the paper napkin or the tissue paper. I'm still kind of letting that stand out and shine, if that makes sense. And on the butterflies, I just pulled out just a really simple little rubber stamp here that's just, I don't know, like a little floral, kind of like a little leaf motif. And I'm just going to stamp it. I'm using the Ranger archival ink in black, but sometimes I'll use the distress ink. Sometimes I'll use distress oxide. It just depends. This is where I just start layering. And I'll do it in a couple places. I usually do it kind of along the edge. You can kind of see there. So you're just giving a little bit of a hint, but we're just adding all those layers. Let's see, those are done. Okay, and what do we want to do? What would be fun with this floral? We could even use this same one. Actually, I think that would be pretty. Let's just use the same one. So I'm just going to use that same. I think that's pretty. And I'll just do it in a couple places here. You can see how really quick and easy, very assembly line. And you don't need to use black. You can use another color. Typically, I do use black because then I come in and I start to layer on the, layer the other distress inks and the oxide inks. Okay, so there we have that layer. Okay, so now I just feel like this is where the rest of the magic happens. I'm going to take my vintage photo. And I'm also going to give the backs a little bit of attention. They're pretty plain. You know, sometimes they use the brown cardstock. Today we're using white, but I do like to give the backs a little bit of an attention, and it's so quick and easy. So we'll get a few of these going. We don't have to do all of them. Oh, and the other thing that I do sometimes, it just depends on what mood I'm in, if I want to kind of take the extra time. But another fun thing you could do is use your washi tape. So here I had, where did it go? Okay, here we go. I just had some of this Tim Holtz washi tape. This one is kind of like a measuring tape kind of look here, and this one has numbers and kind of text. So that's another quick and fun, easy thing that you can layer some of the washi tapes on. In fact, let's stick. Maybe we'll stick that on a couple of these. Same thing, I'll just kind of do it on the edge. Kind of quick and easy. Maybe we'll rip it and then take this other little piece and we can stick it up here. Might need to glue that down. Had an older edge to that washi tape. Cut that. So you can make these as fancy as you want, detailed as you want. So I think that looks cute. Okay, let's ink that one up. Okay, so we have like 3 of the florals. Let's get one more butterfly going on here. Yeah, I'm just using, isn't that little floral stamp? It's so cute. I think it's a Dollar Tree, maybe. I don't know what set that was from. Yeah, I think, right? I'm pretty sure this is a Dollar Tree set. So it was just one of the little florals on there. Pretty certain that that's Dollar Tree. Yeah, Susie, so some of them, because I'm just doing willy-nilly, right? So they just end up being different sizes because I'm trying to be so quick about it. But you know, sometimes my packages, they'll, you know, it'll be a larger item, so maybe I want a little bit larger tag. Sometimes I'll have little, you know, little figurines or something like that that's quite smaller. So I used to be like, oh, they're all the same size. And because I'm trying to mass make them and do them very quickly as package toppers, I try not to get too hung up. I try to do them pretty quick and easy. Okay, there's that. Let's do this one a little bit more. Make sure we pay attention to the back. And this one needs a little bit back. And as you can see, you know, they get kind of grungy on the back, especially with this white, kind of thin. And I'm using very thin cardstock, Angela. Like, I like to just upcycle offcuts. I think this might even be from something Taylor had when she was little. It was something she was gifted, like a sketchbook. So it's not really thick paper, and she had 2 of them. And I've been slowly using those up over time. I think I've gone through one and I have another one. So it's free. It's just kind of upcycled paper that we had around the house that she's not using. Because it's not, you know, it's not like artist quality. It's one of those kids kind of things. Okay, so let's put these out of the way. And then the next thing I like to do is take some kind of stamp. You know how I love my texture stamp. Of course, this one is my favorite go-to. But this would be a cute one. Just something that's going to give, just building on the texture. We have the rubber stamp, we've inked, and now we want to bring in a little bit more color and a little bit more texture. So, you know, something like this would work. Let me see what I have here. Text would also work really well. You know, maybe something like that. I have that one stamp set that I like. Numbers would be great, just like, you know, a bold number here and there. Where's that one? Oh, these are great. So these would be examples of kind of something that would bring in texture, right? So you could use these splatters would be great for that. And then any of this kind of thing where we have, you know, the polka dots, the little faux stitching, you know, that kind of thing, just to bring a little bit extra layer and give it that kind of fun mixed media look. Okay, so let's just use this little splatter one. Let me get a piece of paper here. And you guys all know I have a love for turquoise. Also, because my business cards have a bit of turquoise in them, I like to do the brown and the turquoise. I like to play with that a lot. And I also find like the turquoise, even if it's something unexpected, I don't know, the blue still works well. Like even this. So these are the Christmas ones. So we have the Christmas green. it's hard to see, green and red, but I just think it looks really cute with that touch of blue. This one is a little bit less so, but you can just see the little bits of blue and turquoise there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, so I'm going to use Evergreen Bow. That's kind of my go-to for the little turquoise. So look at that right now. That's kind of where we are with this one. And I just think it transforms. It just absolutely transforms. It's subtle. So can you guys see that? So we have this one that's a little bit plain, and then you can kind of see just that layer, just that little bit of turquoise. I don't know how it does what it does, but we're lifting up a little bit here. Glue that down. But look at that, just adding a little bit of turquoise splatter. Let's do it on this one. And I'm just going to do it on this one because why not? They have different looks, but we've used the same rubber stamp. We're using the same ink colors. It just somehow works. It's like you're kind of at that in between, and maybe you're unsure, but you just keep going. Can you kind of see that? I think the turquoise really works with that. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, I turn them over and I give the backs a little bit of attention. I'm just doing a little bit of the turquoise. So quick and easy, just so the backs are pretty. They get kind of messed up as you're stamping and, you know, using them and touching them. So I think it's nice to give the backs a little something. And then I'm going to grab my vintage photo and kind of go over that. So you can see if you're not chatting and you're just sitting doing, how quick and easy these come together. So there's the back. How cute is that? And then we're going to turn them over. And we'll do just a little bit on the front. Just a little here and there. And we are done. So let me add a couple strings in, and then you can kind of see what that looks like. What did I do with that bag? It fell in my trash can. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are you having a sale today, Kathy? Put the link in if you are. Put the link in. And then, like I said, I have a ton of this like raffia or this twine. I don't know. I picked up a ton at a estate sale. I don't know, thrift store. I don't know where I got it, but I have a ton of it. And I'm kind of tired of looking at it, but because it feels like I've been working off of it for a couple years. One day I will have used all of it. Oh, you know why I have so much? I had done this big macrame hanging, a women's group art retreat, kind of a day retreat that I helped put together and host a number of years. That's why I have so much. I just forgot. And I did this big like macrame hanging on a piece of driftwood so that we could, I made these like fish that we were coloring in, and we could write different things on it or meaningful things on it, and then we could clip it to this macrame hanging. It was really cool. That's why I just remembered why I have so much of it still left. And I cut them pretty long because I find I'd rather cut them long and then cut them off later versus having them too short, and then I'm trying to tie them onto my package and they're way too long. So I make them much longer. I kind of learned the hard way. In fact, this one might be a little bit too short, but and that's it. And I think they have a great look. I think they elevate a package, even if you're not like me and you don't have, an online store, an online shop. They just make the cutest package toppers for family and friends. Be great to make up for Christmas. They'd even be great too to make up a batch and sell them as gift tags if you do flea market or craft fairs, that kind of thing. But how cute are those? They are adorable. There's another one. And then there's another butterfly. And then we'll put toppers on those later. And then here's one I finished earlier before we all came on. So I just think they're awfully sweet. And I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Oh, Tamara's joining you. Nice. Nicey nice. Here, let me click on it. So I can hit the notify. Okay, notification on. 77 minutes. Okay, good. We are doing good on time. Okay. All right, let me go back to this. Okay, all right, guys. I got the crafting out of the way. So now, if you were just here for the crafting and the tutorial, if you have any questions about anything you saw or anything that wasn't clear today, you can just leave me a comment. I'm always good about checking comments and responding back. And now I'm going to share a little bit about our trip. And I'll share pictures too. So I did put pictures on Instagram, but let me grab my phone here. And those that are coming in, I recently went with my husband and our son Ryan and our family friends. We went for maybe it was 8-day. We left on a Thursday and we got back on a Friday. So let me see if I can share some pictures adequately. I'll just kind of go through the timeline. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Hopefully you guys can kind of see, and then I don't want to bore you. I'll kind of go through. So this was just a picture out the window. Here's a picture of Ryan and I when we landed in Guatemala City. So it was a 4-hour, 50-minute flight, and we came in the evening on that first Thursday. Let's see here. This is actually the next morning. So you know what? And I have to confess, and I have to backtrack. So I did a really dumb thing. I'm still kicking myself that I can't believe I did that. So here's us in the Guatemala City airport. Our friends were on their way to come pick us up. We had a van. We were using a driver that our family uses, and we had to rush across the street, and we were getting into the van, and I had my big backpack here. I think I might have been maybe the last one to get in the van, and I was swinging my backpack in, and I stepped into the van with my left foot first, and my left knee made a big pop. I don't think anybody heard it, but I felt it. So yeah, big dum dum dum. I messed my knee up. So this was before I was in pain, and I was in really bad pain after. And I didn't really say anything. I didn't say anything to Jim or Ryan. I didn't say anything to everybody because I'm like, okay, maybe that was just a quirky thing. And oh my gosh, what just happened? I maybe said a little bit before we went to bed that night. And I was in such bad pain all evening, but I think I was like in a little bit of denial. I'm like, no. And I'm one of those, like, I had to take pain. I can kind of go through quite a bit of pain, and I'm okay with it. Um, and I started taking, luckily, I had a bunch of Tylenol. I had thought to pack Tylenol. So I started taking Tylenol that night. And yeah, woke up the next morning. I'm like, I told Jim, I'm like, I'm in so much pain. This isn't good. But I just had to go with it because we're on this trip. We're on this exciting trip. And yeah, I just kind of, I didn't let it keep me down the whole time. I do have an appointment with our orthopedic doctor a week from today. So I ebbed and flowed through the trip. I had some days where it felt better. I had some days where we were walking a lot more. And, if there were lots of stairs, and when we got to the jungle, and we did a lot of walking around the ruins, it was harder, but I just I didn't let it hold me back. And I just thought, I'll just deal with it when I get home. It wasn't bruised. I could walk. Some days it was more swollen than other days, but a lot of the time we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So it wasn't like there weren't hospitals or doctors. We were in the jungle. We were very remote a lot of the trip. So yeah, Tylenol was my friend. I, of course, rested at night. And yeah, so that was the big dum dum thing that I did. But anyway, so this is out the window the morning we woke up. So our friends picked us up, and they had a Airbnb apartment rented right next to the airport, because the next morning we had to be up very, very early, and we caught another plane and went off to Tikal, so Tikal National Park, which is in the jungle where all the Mayan ruins are. So this was just a beautiful picture out the window of our apartment that first morning when we woke up. Let's see. Here's the little plane. There's my Ryan that's yawning. There's the little plane that we took to the national park. Let's see. Some of my pictures aren't that great. There's the boys. So those are our friends' twin sons and Ryan. I think they're just 6 months apart. The boys, the twins are 6 months older than Ryan. So they've all grown up together and known each other their whole life. It's a fun cow. We were riding behind a cow on our way to the national park. And then here we are. The park was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful grounds. We had like little private cabanas that were our hotel room. This was a picture from inside the restaurant. They had a wonderful restaurant, more American menu than it was kind of Guatemalan, local Guatemalan food, I would say, except for the breakfast. The breakfasts were traditional Guatemala food. Okay, so there's the restaurant. Here's poolside. They had a beautiful pool, and you get to see the jungle. We saw toucan. One of the days when we were by the pool, there were monkeys in the trees. They had these super cute. Let's see. I didn't get really, you could see the monkeys really well, and they were right above us in the treetops, but I'm trying to look. It was so hard. You can kind of see it there. Oh, that's not too bad. But they're so camouflagey up there, but they're close by. I mean, they're fairly close, but they were very hard to take pictures of. There's another one. And there was an adorable little baby. And this was like, right outside our little cabana door. I don't know if you can see. Let's see, where's the face? That is a little, okay, here. See, it's so hard to see, but that's a little baby. But my pictures are just not good of the monkeys. Oh, and then this is one. So they have, they're part of the raccoon species, and they're called Coatimundi, I believe is how you say it, but I guess it's Coati for short. So COATI, and they were everywhere, and they could care less about us. They were just intent on getting grub and grubs and digging and looking for food. Do you have that? Welcome. Yeah, it is. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah, Susie, I'm like, this is like a trip of a lifetime. And I mean, I would have pat myself on the back. I never once said, "Oh, I got to sit down. I can't do it." I just did everything that there was to do. I would have done a lot more. I know if my knee wasn't that way, like the first day that we arrived at the jungle, it was kind of towards the afternoon. I would have said to Jim and Ryan, "Okay, let's get our tennis shoes on and let's go find the ruins." So, I kind of lost that first day. So I know I would have done much more than that, but I didn't miss out on anything. Like there isn't anything that I didn't do that everybody else did. And I kept my pace up, and I hung out with everybody and did everything everybody did. So I feel very blessed that even though I was in a lot of pain, I was still able to do it. This was our little uh, cabana, or this is the front entrance to our room. So they were kind of like little maybe fourplexes. So I think there was like an entrance to another one over here, and then our friends were staying at the one behind us. So it was, like a little, like two queen beds, beautiful bathroom, really, really nice. And then everything were these little, cobblestone walkways. And of course, Jim and Ryan were so sweet and held my hand, and everybody was always making sure that, I didn't fall, or, that they were helping me in and out of the boats, and everybody was so sweet. So there's our room. There's Ryan. I don't know if that's a good picture. He's under the oh, here's one of the how do you do that? Oh, whoops, I gotta go back. That was one of the quaddies. I think I put a video up that on my Instagram page. So fun. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, here's one of the breakfasts. So this was probably the most traditional food we ate. So very traditionally, and Carrie will know this too, would be like a scoop of beans, and they were so flavorful. Not like we're used to here in California, or kind of a Mexican fare that we're used to. They were just so, oh my gosh, they were so delicious. So very, very rich. So, you'd get a scoop of beans and a little wedge of cheese. It was kind of a drier cheese. obviously eggs any way you like them, but scrambled here, fried plantains, and of course the most delicious coffee. Coffee was amazing, and fresh fruit and juices as they had them. Let's see. Oh, here's Jim on the walkway down to our little cabana. Here was the restaurant in kind of front office, but basically it was just kind of this one building, but it was just open air. The restaurant was open air. Very lovely. Here are some of the Mayan ruins. And thankfully, we were able to find that they had a truck, kind of like a shuttle, that would, thankfully, because I think it was probably about a 40, and I would have done it, but I think it was like a 45-minute walk to get from our hotel where we were staying and get to the ruins. And in the park, they only have two hotels. So they had the resort that we were staying at, and Rosina had picked that one, and it was beautiful. They had a pool, and I think we walked next door to the other, but I would say that is definitely, if you're going to go, I would suggest staying there. And it is called the Jungle Lodge Inn, I believe is the name of it. But there's only one's called the Jaguar and one is called the Jungle. And that one I would highly recommend after we saw the one next door. So there's some of the ruins. Breathtaking, breathtaking. They're huge. They're amazing. Look at that. Just beautiful. So this was kind of one of the main centers. So there's more of the ruins. And I think, oh, this is a little video I took. I definitely, if I had been on my game and my knee was cooperating, we probably would have walked. There were some others that were maybe a couple mile loop to go see. So bummed that we didn't get to go see those, but what we did see here was pretty spectacular and amazing. Okay, let me see what else we have. And I'm a plant person, so that was the other thing. The flora and the fauna and the plants were amazing. I kept thinking all these gorgeous, gorgeous plants are, they're just growing out in the wild, and that's what, we buy and we have as house plants. It just amazing. When we got to the lake house too, even more so. Beautiful birds. The toucan was really cool the day we saw the toucan. Here's one of Ryan, my handsome boy. Here is, so this is my friend Rosina. This is her husband, Leo, and Jim and Leo have been friends since high school days. So they are brothers from another mother. Close and dear friends, and so it was kind of fun. They adventured a lot together before Jim and I married and Leo and Rosina got married. They've been to Fiji together. They went to Australia. All these great surfing trips that the two of them did together. So it was kind of fun. We're married, we got kids, our kids are grown, and to kind of have this adventure, and the two of them having the adventure too. I look terrible in those pictures. I don't want to show you those. So let's see here. Do you, Carrie? Oh my, it's like, is that like how your mom makes them, or I'm not even saying the right words. They're unlike the beans I feel like that we get here in California. The flavor is so intense and delicious. So good. I would say that really the only kind of local food that we had was breakfast. I didn't really get a sense of like what um, lunches and dinners would be like. And I'll kind of kind of explain that too as we go. So that's just so now we're back on the plane and we're headed back into Guatemala City. We've done the jungle, so we had two nights stay in the jungle. Okay, so this is really fun. The wonderful thing about okay, so I have to backtrack. When we came back into Guatemala City, Rosina's cousin and her son were there to meet us after our flight landed, and they joined us for the rest of the trip. So her beautiful, lovely, amazing cousin Ingrid, who I now feel like I have a new sister in Guatemala, the loveliest person, and her son is absolutely amazing as well, Calef, and he did all the driving for us. So the benefit of that, of having Rosina's family with us, oops, let me put that on there. I just saw my glue, is that they just knew all the fun places to stop and all the great fun restaurants to stop. And this one, I still can't get over it. So we left Guatemala City and we were on our way to a lake called Lake Atitlan. So it's Itlan. We had Rosina had rented an Airbnb home for us there. And so they said, oh, we have to stop at this restaurant. And basically it ended up being like a farm destination, kind of this big estate. What do I want to say? Like an attraction, maybe. They had ATVs you could ride. They had farm animals. It it was the most unreal experience and something that I didn't imagine seeing in Guatemala, right? I don't know. I've never been there and you kind of have expectations. So this is a little picture of kind of what it was like. And it was a restaurant and an estate that was themed off of the TV show Bonanza, which seems so strange, but it was so wonderful. And it was just glorious. We kind of felt like we were up in the mountains. There were pine trees, beautiful grass, chickens. I don't know. It was so fun. And then there were all the local ladies, people that were there to celebrate birthdays. I would say I was probably the only, maybe, well, Jim, Ryan, and myself. Jim's half Japanese, but I don't think there were any other kind of non-local people there, or Caucasian. I always say haole because I have that like Hawaiian side. I always say haole, but all the women, and I think because they were there to celebrate birthdays, they were in their beautiful dresses and hand-woven skirts and tops. And it was such a juxtaposition of a restaurant in this place that was themed on the Bonanza TV show. It was so crazy. Is that how, oh, I would love to know how you make them, Carrie. Oh, they were so good. Yeah, it was just, in fact, I took pictures and I sent them. We had like a little group chat going on with my parents on the WhatsApp, right? And I ended up having Wi-Fi there. I was completely surprised when I got off the airport. I have AT&T. I didn't request to have Wi-Fi, but I did have it the whole time on my phone. I got some kind of text alert when we flew in, and so, which came in handy because sometimes we needed Wi-Fi. But yeah, I was sending pictures to friends and my dad and my stepmom. There's one of the chickens. Let me see. So there's the inside of the restaurant. So you can see the sign Bonanza, and they had TVs everywhere with the TV show going. It was just, it was delightful, I have to say. It was like this delightful surprise. Look at that. So it's like very, it was very Western, very cowboy. Um, Great food. Food was delicious, kind of barbecue, but then they'd have tortillas and, you know, you'd get the beans and it was wonderful. So left the restaurant and headed to Lake Atitlan. I only took one picture on the way, but it was gorgeous. Farmlands, lots of corn and vegetables growing, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. This was the Airbnb that Rosina rented for us on the lake. So it was a little bit funny too because it was very remote. And as we were going there, we were kind of like, you know, you start to think, I mean, and it probably took us, I don't know, 3 hours to get there, maybe 4 hours. And we quickly realized we were thinking, oh, we can kind of pick up food as we go and we're going to find places to stop and get food. Well, we weren't seeing anything. So we were like, okay, we may be in a little bit of trouble. We finally pulled over and there was a little vegetable stand and we kind of, you know, grabbed some vegetables, some tomatoes, and some onions. And I'm like, oh, I think I saw somebody that had eggs back there. So we kind of started getting a little bit desperate because we didn't have anything. We knew we needed water and bottled water. And then I think we finally found like a 7-Eleven kind of ish place. And I don't know, bought a few things, bought a few things there. But the house was so remote and it was on this little kind of dirt road. And so then we started laughing and thinking, oh, well, maybe the Airbnb pictures weren't right. We had a lot of fun, but thankfully we pulled up and it was the most beautiful place. And the property was many multiple levels on a hillside with stairs, and everything was volcanic rock and the most beautiful gardens. And we had there were 3 buildings on the property. One the caretaker's family lives in, and then we had use of the other 2 buildings. And this is like, I didn't walk all the way down, I was on the steps up above, but this was the deck down below, so we could walk all the way down to the lake. They had kayaks for us to use. It was just wonderful. You can see like some of the other estates. In fact, I mentioned that Pollo Compero, the chicken place. Apparently, the person that owns that franchise, that's their estate or that's their home. Clearly it's probably a part-time thing because it didn't look like anybody was there. So this was the lower deck. This is one of the walkways. I kept saying, I feel like I'm in a Sunset magazine. Any of you that, oh, I missed people. Terry, I miss Terry. I miss Jonna. I'm so sorry. I'm just talking. I'm talking. It was like we were in the pages of Sunset Magazine. That's all the only way I can describe it. Here's Jim and Leo on the deck. So we had like the main house was up above, and that's what we kind of used as our main kitchen. There were 2 bedrooms here in the upper house, like a bunk bedroom and then another bedroom, and there was another little loft up here, but majorly cool architecture, very modern. Look at that. That was the view out the kitchen window. Is that crazy? And I don't know if it's the owner, whoever owns the house, or the caretaker, but somebody most definitely has a passion for gardening. Like everywhere you looked, it's not coming very clear, but that's just a look down some of the stairs from the building up above. That was the view when we woke up the first morning. Here's our bed here. So that's what we saw the foot of our bed, looking out the windows. So we stayed there, like a lower building that was another kitchen, like a big open air dining room, and 2 other bedrooms. We're down in the building below. So we were kind of on the upper deck. That was one of the decks from above, and you can see the lake there. It just was gorgeous. And we had three nights here. Let's see what out. Look at that. I mean, I was in heaven. You're not supposed to take plants home, which I did not, but it was very hot. Like the plant lover in me, I was like, oh, I wish I could just take a little piece of all of these plants. There were air plants everywhere. It was glorious. So here's the other building that was down below. So we slept up here on the top half, and then there was another one down there, and there's the pool that was kind of below that building. I mean, I've never been in a house like that before. It's probably, we'll see if I ever do. They had kayaks, and that first day, we just all kind of had a relaxing day. There's all the boys out in the kayaks, out in the lake. I don't think Jim went out. Jim may have gone out, but I didn't indulge in the kayaks. I probably should have, because it would have been a lot of fun. There's Jim and I. There's Ryan down there in the kayak. Doesn't it? Total. I love this picture. I took a Rosina. Total Sunset Magazine vibes. It's everybody getting in the kayak. Just gorgeous. I definitely, I could go back and just spend a week at that house. It was so relaxing. We'd have to figure out the food, the food situation a little bit more. We were it was joking. We just like kind of had to make do with what we have, and we were giggling a lot. But Rosina and Ingrid, they did amazing with the food that we had, and it was wonderful. And I say them because I think the first night we were there, my stomach started not to agree with me. So Ryan, Rosina maybe had a little bit of a tinge, but Ryan, our son Ryan, was the only one that didn't get sick on the trip. So we all kind of had bouts of it. I kind of had a bout of it once we hit the lake house, and I know it was from something that I ate. We were very, very careful with water, bottled water. Jim and Ryan and I had gone to the resort next door at the Jungle, and I'm 100% certain it was probably what I had for lunch. And yeah, just unfortunately it didn't agree with me. But Rosina had all kinds of amazing stuff with her, and medication that her family had given them early, because they were there a week before us. And off and on, some of her family were not feeling well. These are the little pancake faces that Rosina made one of the mornings that were adorable. It was her cousin. His birthday was coming up that weekend. So fun. Let's see here. What do we have? So this day after it's a funny picture of Jim. He will not like that picture. This day after the amazing pancake faces she made for the boys, we took a boat ride across the lake, and we went to 3 towns. I can't remember the name of the third, but the first one was San Pedro, because we have town called San Pedro here that we live right on the verge of. But it was San Pedro La Laguna. We visited San Juan La Laguna, which was kind of an artisan town. A lot of the indigenous crafts and kind of arts and creative people. Beautiful towns. And then I can't remember the name of the third, but I did put it in my Instagram, and that was a little bit bigger of a town. So this is taking the boat ride And I think that was the first town. Just gorgeous, beautiful, gorgeous. Just stuff, amazing things to look at. This was outside one of the churches. What does that say? Yeah, so that says San Pedro. Well, I always say Pedro, but it's San Pedro, I guess. I like that one, a Rosina. I'm kind of big. I like to take like scenic pictures a lot. There's Jim. And then we rode on these little things called tuk-tuks, tuk-tuks, and they're little kind of like three-wheeler type. What would I call it? It's not like a golf cart, but you can fit 3 people on the back, and then there's the driver up front. So it's kind of a motorcycle base, and maybe there might be a picture in here. So we rented like 3 of them so we could all fit in, and they drove us up on top of the hill. We had a view of the lake, and they had this really cool place where you could go in and I love this one. Ingrid took that of Jim and I. So they had all these kind of photography moments, as you will, up in this little place. But it was gorgeous. These like beautiful metal birds. I think Susie was remarking how cool they were. Beautiful murals. Here's the cousins, Ingrid and Rosina. And they had this, and I'm like, I'm going to get up there. It was a big metal bird's nest. I made it up there. It's fun. There's my baby boy. And I didn't get up here, but they had this big metal hand that you could walk upstairs. I think I have some pictures of some people up there. These beautiful butterflies. Let's see if I have anybody. There's Jim. I think this might have been, no, this was still the first town that we were in. So that's still San Pedro. And then we went to San Juan, and we got to tour. We got to go on these specialized tours that showcased all the local artisans. So the first one we went to, they had this beautiful young lady, and she showed and how they what do I want to say? Actually make the yarn, right? So take the fibers, spin the yarns, how they dye them with all the natural dyes like avocado, all the things that we do with our papers, right? Avocado dye and hibiscus and all these natural ways of dyeing the yarn and dyeing the fibers. And then here she was showing us how they actually do the different types of weaving. And the interesting thing she also told us is that their tradition is that you're not allowed to get married as a female. You're not allowed to get married until you have that craft down, until you know how to make yarn and dye it and know how to do the Mayan weaving or the indigenous weaving. And she just was lovely. And then we got the opportunity to, look in some of the shops. And some of them too, they said some of these intricate ones could take them many, many months. Obviously, they're just beautiful. Many, many months to make. And that's just a mural. We got to also go to see where they do beekeeping, and their bees are super teeny tiny. So I do think they do have the bees that we're used to in the United States, but they have, and I didn't take any pictures of them. They look like gnats. Like if I had seen them, I wouldn't have known. Oops, let me take this down. No, I still have that up. They're so teeny tiny. adorable. We got a chance to try some of the different honeys from the area, very different, different textures, different flavors. This was a beautiful boardwalk that they had in San Juan. Let's see here. Then we went to the third town, which was like a bigger town, bustling town. We were able to pick up a few groceries and things we needed. And then Ingrid and Clef knew about this restaurant that was an Italian restaurant, again, very unexpectedly, and the most delicious Italian food. Fresh made pastas and pizza dough and pizza. And it was delicious. Here we are walking around town. Just everywhere you look, everything's gorgeous. Some of my pictures are a little out of order because, you know, we were sharing pictures. So there's one of the boat. Let's see here. From the restaurant. Oh, there's some of our friends up on the hand. So cool. I like that. I wasn't brave enough to get on the hand. I'm like, no, I'm good from here. Here's the ladies, the moms. Let's see here. What do we have? There's the restaurant. Okay, so we spent 3 nights at the lake house, and then we left there and we did 1 night in Antigua. So that was our second to last night. So we left the lake, kind of backtracked a little. We passed Antigua on the way. So I don't know, maybe an hour or two maybe to get there. Maybe it was a little bit longer. And Rosina had rented us a beautiful, let me see if I can find a front picture of it, a beautiful Airbnb home. I kept saying, oh, it's very, very Frida Kahlo like, because it had that open air. So it was just like a big square, kind of typical if you watch that movie or seen any of the, you know, kind of colonial Central American, you know, kind of architecture. So like here was the living room. So every room had its own door. Living room and the kitchen and dining room was here. And then 3 bedrooms down this way, and just one big square with this beautiful patio in the center. And it rained that night, which was very, very cool to hear the rain coming down. And we were all safe in our bedrooms. Beautiful carved masks in the entryway of the home. And I fell in love with those, and I was super happy I was able to pick one up when we went into town later that day. So that's the front of our little rental house, and it was like in a gated community. Just beautiful. I'm still kind of pinching myself. It just seems a little unreal that we were there. And it went by so quick, and all the varied and different places we were and all the beauty, it still seems a little bit unreal. We did visit, they had a Starbucks in Antigua that is supposed to be the most beautiful Starbucks. So we had to go in there and grab a cold drink and see what that was about. So here's some of the murals. Here's the patio of the Starbucks. Here is one of the archways in town in Antigua. And Ingrid explained that it used to be the capital of Guatemala. And I guess there was there's active volcanoes all around the area. And I guess there was an event with volcano and earthquake that happened. And Carrie probably knows more about this too. So I guess they relocated the capital to Guatemala City. So a lot of the architecture, I guess, was lost in that event. And, you know, I guess since then they've come over and kind of rebuilt on top of some of those structures. So some things remain, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful city. cobblestone streets. And oh, I took that because I was picking up worry dolls. Here's the boys in front of beautiful church, just gorgeous architecture. Can't really see, but I guess they do parades, and maybe that was happening the next weekend. I wish I had walked over here and taken a better picture, but they had these beautiful floats and like Catholic sculptures are just amazing. I do regret I didn't walk across, but just really beautiful. Okay, so we had one night in Antigua, and then we jumped in the car and we headed back towards Guatemala City because we did our one last night again at that same hotel in Guatemala City. And we stopped. This was the most beautiful place to kind of celebrate our whole trip and celebrate with Rosina's cousins, and knowing that we had to say goodbye. And so they picked out this restaurant to stop on our way back into Guatemala City. And it was an estate that was at the base of, in fact, this is an active volcano up here. I think I have a little video of it, but it was just, again, just the most beautiful place. And, had we not been with Rosina's family, I mean, so thankful and blessed too that they were with us, because these are all things that we wouldn't know to stop at or to seek out. And a lot of things were off the beaten path. And so we were really blessed that they were with us. And it just was it was such a special trip. But just a gorgeous, there's the volcano. It went off quite a few times. I think, oh, there's a little video of it going off. Is that when it happened, Carrie? Yeah, the late 70s. I can't remember when Ingrid said, but how terrible, just tragic as far as life lost and all the history. It had to have been so absolutely devastating. I think there's a picture maybe of all of us. I love this picture. This is another great one of Jim and Leo. And again, a lot of the places we went to, they had great like picture setup places. So that was kind of fun. And I think actually one of their cousins recently got married at this estate. So I think that's how they knew about it as well. So there's Jim and Ryan, of course, me and Ryan. I won't bore you with all those. And that might be it. Let's see. Is that us? Yeah, that's everybody at the table. What a beautiful place to have champagne and celebrate each other. Oh, that's and now I'm home. Here's Thor, the neighborhood cat that I always talk about, who comes in and takes naps in the house. So there's Thor, if any of you have ever wondered what he looks like. He was here as soon as we got back, and he's pretty much not pretty much not left us, which is very good, because when we got back, we learned there's a house kind of up the hill from us that I don't know why. I've just noticed that it seemed like the family hasn't been there, or it's kind of empty, and a coyote family has moved in. So we got a flyer in our mailbox that there's at least a 4 coyote den up on the property. So I guess the owners have cleaned it up. But we're certain they're still here because Jim saw a coyote right in front of our house. So yeah, if he wants to come in and he's safe, we're like, come on in, baby, be safe. So yeah, he's pretty much been in our yard or in the house as he's been around. But that's it, friends. that was the trip. And it was, whoops, what happened here? I'm turning this around here. It was, yeah, we keep as we've been texting each other since we've been home. It almost seems unreal that we saw all those beautiful places, we traveled, we went all those places. Just gorgeous. I would highly recommend if anybody gets the opportunity to visit Guatemala. It's an amazing place. The people are beautiful and friendly and just lovely. I never felt, you know, I never felt any other way other than safe and um, in wonderful hands. So it was really, really special. I think Jim has expressed that it would be fun to go back to the jungle. Especially if I'm feeling better, I can walk. It would be fun to go back and visit and be able to see all the, all the ruins, because we just saw that one little handful, that one little cluster. So that would be good. It would be fun to go back and visit and spend more time. I'd of course love to go be lake life for a while and spend more time. And Antigua would be really fun too, to go back and stay there. Antigua, even though it's a kind of antique colonial town, very hustle bustle, a lot going on, a lot of restaurants and shops, and definitely a lively town. It's probably more, place a lot of tourists come to check out, but just gorgeous. Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys, but I know some people maybe don't do Instagram, and that was it in a nutshell. Okay, let me turn the camera around. Let's see here. Take a little drink of water. Oh. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Leanne. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Have you been back as an adult, or taken Leslie or your husband? It was fun. It was fun. And definitely, yeah, I think we were blessed too that we had, family and Rosina's family to be with us and travel. Um, and we had that kind of insider, but I think when people that have gone and places they recommend, I think that kind of helps too. Yeah, it was amazing. I'm very glad to be back home and be back home with all of you, and hopefully I'll get my knee on the mend. I mean, I've walked so I took like 4 days off, also because Jim and I got sick right when we got home, so I got a little bit of stomach stuff going on when we got home, so we're just taking probiotics and working through that. And you don't even go to Walmart, they deliver. Yeah, it was, Jim did a lot of, like I said, he did a lot of traveling in his youth. Before we met, we did a little bit of international traveling. When we were dating, we went to the Caribbean with my parents. I'm not sure if we were married or after we were married. So we've done a little bit of a little trips here and there, but I've never been one to be really adventurous that way, and I'm also not a good planner. So you guys all know that I'm not good at planning. I'm more like kind of off the cuff. I just kind of go on a whim and a flow. And of course, when you travel like that, you cannot be that person. You have to have everything planned out. And Rosina was amazing. I mean, she picked the most perfect, wonderful places to go and had it all planned out for us every step of the way. So it was left up to me. I feel like I just wouldn't be able to plan an amazing trip like that. So we're very blessed to have our sweet friends and family in that regard. But it was amazing. I highly recommend if anybody gets the opportunity to definitely go. And I don't know, there may be some opportunities that I may know of coming up. I don't want to say much about it, but yeah, there might be some opportunities for some planned trips in the future that some people may want to hop aboard and enjoy. So she was, I always say that, Rosie. Yeah, she was our travel agent extraordinaire. In fact, I didn't even really, I knew where we were going and kind of what we were doing. But again, because I had like this weird brain and it wasn't like it was a surprise, but it was a little bit like a surprise. It was like we were going on this trip but unless you like super research and you know all these places, so it was a little bit like a surprise. Like I knew we were going to the jungle, we were lake house, but so it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun that way. And then Ingrid, her cousin Ingrid, and her son Caleb, they just brought a whole nother level to the trip. Rosina planned this amazing trip and all these exotic locales, and then having them with us, all these restaurants and all these fun places that we stopped on the way, and because I don't think we wouldn't have known about them or maybe been brave enough to go check them out or go drive down this crazy dirt road and this restaurant that somebody maybe mentioned that we kind of heard about. So that was like the extra layer of specialness on the trip. So that is it. Okay, I'm not going to talk anymore because I know you guys all need to take on your day and go do something fun. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on the tags. I just love making these. I'm a little bit addicted. But if you're not chit-chatting like I was today, they're very, very quick and easy to put together. And of course, they elevate any package that you add them to, and you can make a super big one like I did. And just take the napkins and the paper collaging, and look how easy that is. That's just a little cutout owl from the napkin that was on the front, and just super fun and easy. So I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know what we're going to be doing next week, but I will see you guys next Thursday. Make sure you jot the Crafty Marathon down on your calendar. So that will be September 20th, which is going to happen really quick. I got to get going figuring out what handmade goods I'm bringing to the marathon. I'm going to pull from a little bit of inventory, but I do want to make some new things as well for that. So make sure you put that on your calendar. September 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern here on my channel. And we'll be talking about that more as the weeks go on. And have fun incorporating playing card into your weekly craft prompt. So that's it. I hope everybody has an amazing day, and I will see you all next Thursday. Bye. Love you all.